Hello, I'm Ken Jabert with the Orange County Library System here at the Hiawassee branch in Orlando, Florida, on January the 9th, 2013, capturing memories from our community. Can you please tell us your name and where you're from?
My name is Russ Salerno, and I've lived in Orlando since 1957, originally from Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Bridgeport, Connecticut. What brought you down to Orlando?
Mom, she was heading to Miami and stopped in Orlando on the way down. She was going to go see her brother, live down there, and she stopped in Orlando, fell in love with Orlando, and by luck and by my luck, here we are.
Made it both of your homes ever since.
Right.
What's your favorite part about living in Orlando?
Growing up, it was definitely Pine Hills. I mean, back then, Pine Hills was, in my estimation, was the place to be. Everybody was friendly. The Martin Marietta people came. They were all, blue-collar workers, and everybody was friendly. Everybody knew everybody, and it was just a great community. Little league, football, just community spirit. It was just, right now, today, if somebody asked me if I had to do all over again, and I know all of Orlando, and if I had to do it all over again, where would I live when I was a kid? And I would say Pine Hills all over again.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So, you went to school in the Pine Hills area?
I did. Started out at Memorial in junior high for 1 year, and then went to Edgewater, and then they built Evans High School, where they previously they had a junior high, and then in 1960 they brought over, or 59, they brought over sophomore, juniors, and seniors, and got most of them from Edgewater High School. So when I came in as a junior.
So that means you were in the second graduating class of what was at the time the new Evans High School.
The first Evans High School, I was in the second graduating class. 60 was the first.
So you must be pretty impressed with the relatively brand new Evans High School that we've just gotten in the last couple of years.
I've toured it about 4 times, been in the gym, and just totally in awe. I mean, we had no air conditioners, we had tiny little lunchroom, just totally in awe. The computers, and it's just a totally different ballgame.
And when you were a student at Evans, were you involved in any extracurricular activities or athletics?
I was. I played football, I played basketball, and I ran track, and I think I was in a couple of the clubs.
So you got that, at the time, brand new gym at Evans High School and well used, right?
Well used, yeah. Actually, that was the first gym, and so I got to play in the first basketball game, and as well as the football. I played in the first football, so I was fortunate enough to do that. And so, in fact, just to tell you a little story, when I moved over to Evans, the coaches got me a job working construction. I'll never forget, H.J. High Construction. And they were going to try to keep me and another guy, Jim Ferguson, in shape for the summer and get us ready for football. And so we laid block and we worked on the roofs. And, so we were actually a part of building the gym at Evans High School.
So you helped build the gym for the new Evans High School from 1959-60, right?
59-60, right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. Do you belong to any local organizations in either Pine Hills or the Orlando area currently?
Locally, I'm a member of the West Orange Chamber of Commerce, president of the Pine Hills Boys and Girls Club. Been on the board for the Central Florida Boys and Girls Club for probably 40 plus years.
And how did you come to be involved in the Boys and Girls Club?
I was raised with a single mom, and when I moved down here, she had to work and I had to do something, and I got involved in the Boys Club downtown Orlando, and raised with no father. She never remarried, and at the Boys Club downtown, I was very fortunate to get involved with a couple people. One in particular was a guy by the name of Bill Frankus, who happened to be the principal at Memorial Junior High, and he kind of took me under his wing. I got in a little bit of trouble right out of the box, and so he took me under his wing and took me along, and Lord put him in my life, and that was my first role model down here. And like I say, because I was heading in the wrong direction, and one of the reasons we moved, I was heading in the wrong direction down there, or up in Connecticut. So, not that I was a bad guy, I was just kind of wavering a little bit. So, like I say, the Lord put Mr. Frankus in my life, and, you know, still today, you know, I would not be where I am if it were not for Bill Frankus and the Boys and Girls Club. So I've always felt that, you know, I've got to do something. The Boys and Girls Club was great for me, so I want to help Boys and Girls Club. So that's how I got involved. I got started here with a gentleman by the name of Max Wyman, who you'll probably hear his name several times as you conduct these interviews. And another awesome guy, and there again, the Lord put Max Wyman in my life. And, you know, he was another role model. So there, right there out of the box, I've got two role models where I've never had a father figure role model.
So the Boys and Girls Club became a near and dear to your heart organization.
Absolutely, still is.
You said when you first moved down here that your mother was a single mother. What did she do for a living?
She was in the restaurant business and the food business, and she opened up a little diner, and, you know, I'd work there sometimes, and she just was a hard worker. Unfortunately, she passed away when she was only 55 years old, so she was very young, suddenly. And, you know, I was out of school then, out of high school then, but she just wanted to get me out of the north and get me down here.
And what was the name of the diner that she opened?
Shirleys Niner.
So I guess her name was Shirley.
Yeah, and then she had another one that was really kind of cool, was she had this place right next to the stadium. Back then it was the Tangerine Bowl, Tinker Field, Tangerine Bowl, and so it was called the Stadium Bar and Grill. And so it was right across the street. So I'd work there, and I had the opportunity to see, back then the Washington Senators played baseball there, and, you know, they'd have all these teams come in. And so me being a sports fan, I'd be in the restaurant working anyway, and all these major league players would come in, and, you know, they'd have, you know, some dinner. And it wasn't a great diner, but it was kind of, you know, just a good country cooking type thing, and burgers and whatever. And so I get to meet a lot of, you know, Camilio Pasquale and Bob Allison, and, you know, just a lot of Rod Carew, just a lot of the old baseball players, which was right up my alley. That was great.
That must have been one of the highlights of growing up around here and having your mother run a business there.
Absolutely. Everybody loved Shirley.
And I bet during game days it was probably the people were in there crazy busy trying to serve burgers and dogs.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it was crazy.
Who was your favorite player that you remember meeting?
Back then in Washington, probably Harmon Killebrew, Earl Batty. Those were two guys. Batty was a catcher. When I played baseball, I was a catcher. And I've always been a Yankee fan, but again, they were right there across the street. I've always been and still today in my house, I've got a big picture of Mickey Mantle. I grew up if I had an idol growing up, it was Mickey Mantle. You know, when I was a kid, I'd try to run like him, try to catch like him, try to talk like him, try to walk like him, and you know, he was just my idol, as he was a lot of people.
And what about your college days? Did you go to college around here?
I did. Knocked around junior college for a while, and then got my AA degree, and then FTU became available. So we started at FTU, or I started at FTU, and my wife went to work there. She was the first head cashier at FTU when we first opened up. So I got involved in FTU, and I was a little older now because I was knocked around junior college, and ended up going full-time, and ended up playing on the first basketball team at FTU, which is now UCF. A guy by the name of Torchy Clark came to town, and the word was that there was going to be a real basketball team at FTU. And back then, when I started, there were only 2 buildings.
And when would this have been?
1968, when it started.
Okay. So there were only 2 buildings at the time, you said?
Yeah, so when I graduated in the first graduating class, which was 1970. So Torchy Clark came, who was, like I say, was the basketball coach, and there again, the Lord put another guy in my life, Torchy Clark. So he came and went to the intramurals. I was playing intramural basketball, and a couple other guys that went to Evans, Lonnie Lacey, and, you know, we were playing just intramurals. So he came up to some of us and says, "Hey, we're going to start a basketball team here." You know, we said, like a real basketball team? And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you guys want to play?" So he picked up about, on that first team, probably 10 guys out of the intramurals. And We ended up playing, first year, I think we were 14-5 with a bunch of Humpty Dumps, just playing. We played Palm Beach Atlantic, Embry-Riddle, Air Force bases and Navy bases and stuff like that. So then when I got out of school, when I graduated, I had to go to work, but they offered me a graduate assistantship if I'd stay. So I became an assistant coach and a instructor at FTU, which is now UCF.
Under Torchy?
Under Torchy.
Oh, wow. So
So
what
I
was it
stayed-
like working under him?
Awesome, awesome. He was a man ahead of his time, and I don't know if you ever heard of Torchy, but he was just an unbelievable basketball coach. Again, he was ahead of his time. He did some stuff. We had winning years every year. He was hard to work for once the whistle blew. I mean, he knew exactly once the whistle blew that practice was over, the games were over. It was like a light switch. It's just, once that whistle blows, it's a whole different ballgame. And, he's all business. And, I learned a lot discipline-wise. I learned a lot on scheduling and how to handle kids, how to motivate kids. And he would we didn't have the greatest talent. Got him out of the intramurals when I first started. So, but he knew how to get every little bit of ounce of talent that he could out of all the kids. And he became, he's the winningest basketball coach today even at UCF. So I left after probably 4 years and then went back actually for another year in '82 and did it again. But I just can only stay 1 year. I had some businesses that I was doing, so I couldn't do them.